What's up, Golf Psychos? Welcome back to the Golf Psycho Podcast. I'm Carlos Benavides, golf mental game coach out of Austin, Texas. With me today is my buddy Raul.
What up, y'all?
How's it going, Raul? How's the day treating you?
Good, man. Thanks for having me back, dude. The weather's nice. It's a little chilly. It's getting a little warm, though.
It's been chilly in Austin, but damn, man, we're definitely ready for some spring weather. Definitely over the cold already. Just a little bit of cold, and I'm like, get me back to golf weather, man.
Yeah, give me back the sun.
But today we're going to be going over golf and spirituality, the parallels of golf and life. This is a game of life, right? It mimics life in so many different ways. So we're going to be going into those topics and how golf spills into the outside world and sort of a loading of the who part 2 and how to really make your who lasting and meaningful. Let's jump right in. So I really wanted to go over again today, starting right off the bat with, really making sure that our who is something deep and it's going to last and it's meaningful. We're going to update it through the years and through the months, and it's going to continue to mean something different to all of us. But I kind of wanted to spend a little bit more time going into how I established my who and why who, right? And I think that at the end of the day, one of the big overarching lessons as far as, deciding who we are on the golf course, who we are in life, plays a big factor in our happiness, in our health, in our relationships, and making sure that the who that we tap into, right, is our authentic self and perhaps a version of ourself that's going to serve others and serve our families and serve our health and all that good stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So really wanted to tap into that. And later in this episode, we're also going to connect how our who is going to be able to allow us to decipher which thoughts are in line with our game, which ones are going to help us play our best golf. And at the end of the day, since we're talking about the golf, golf and life parallels.
Why you're listening.
Yeah. How this is going to connect to, the thoughts that you have outside of the course and all of that good stuff. But anything right off the bat, Raul, that's kind of, as a golfer, as a great person that you are, anything off the bat immediately, kind of ring to you, or any questions as an outsider as far as the who and where we're going today that just kind of stand out to you?
Well, what you've covered already so far, the who, like I've mentioned before, I've experienced is the form of meditation, building that foundation of breathing to calm the nervous system, whether that's on the golf course, which I'm still working on, and I forget to do, or at home with the new baby. That is where I found most recently where I've been putting the reps of the breathing, of the kind of loading the who, of right before I changed this poopy diaper, breathing and not freaking out that I only had 2 hours of sleep, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. And I keep telling myself, okay, this is a rep that's going to help me on the course. And just keep telling myself, because sometimes I'll be like, oh, man, what am I doing? Like, is this going to really help me out? Like, I still got to practice. Like all these things would, and I'll be like, okay, stop. Just stop living in the future, like you mentioned. Come back and live on the now, the breathe. And I know it's hard, at least for me, I find it hard because you have, spouse, kid, there's work, there's so much going on to just always remember to come back and like, oh, there's still this golf game I'm trying to improve. Every time I tell myself, as you do this, it's a rep, you're building the golf game as well. You're not working on the stroke, you're not putting or chipping, but just as you're breathing, that's going to help you in the course. So when you get out there, it's not so new. And I keep trying to tell myself, and I don't know if that answers that question, but I've been finding myself that's improving, at least at home.
No, absolutely. And you're going to continue to notice catching yourself, in life, and it's going to serve you on the course. And in the beginning, and even a few years in, myself, these things still happen, where you have these noticing moments. And I think that's the overarching, I love to use that word. I love the fact that you're noticing these things, right? Because without noticing, we just skim right over them, right? They're there for us to notice so that we can get ourselves out of those moments where we can easily go down a path of stress or anxiety. And I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because it's priceless to be able to catch ourselves in these stressful moments or catch ourselves having anxious thoughts, again, future thoughts. Notice them and get yourself out, right? And what I mean by get yourself out is regulate, come back to your breath. As we discussed in the past, your nervous system is heavily tied to the way you breathe, right? Of course, if your nervous system has gone off, as we discussed, the breath is short and shallow, or we hold it. And then, of course, our body picks up that we're in fight or flight. Adrenaline goes through, cortisol goes up, digestion stops. That's another thing that I don't think I've mentioned that happens when fight or flight is on. But digestion stops, right? So everything's just sitting there in your stomach, acids build, and we end up with all of those gut issues and whatnot. It's just this domino effect of what stress does. So every single time that you notice and you're able to regulate, get yourself back, get your thinking together, and that's exactly what loading your who is all about. It's asking yourself, who am I being right now? And again, a lot of golfers are going to identify with this. A lot of, some golfers are going to be like, oh, this is ridiculous, but a lot of the golfers that are watching this, if you are watching this and you already feel this sort of connection to golf, it's not too far-fetched to say, this is there's a spiritual connection with this game. And as we've discussed, and most golfers will agree, this is a game that mimics life in lots of ways, So fantastic, bro. I absolutely love that it's already serving you off of the course. And then when you catch these things off the course, it serves you on the course.
Right.
And it's just this cycle of back and forth. One helps the other, one helps the other. Really great thing is that once you've started, it's going to be really difficult to stop. There's this tendency that's kind of generic in all of our brains that feels like, oh, well, I'm catching it sometimes, or you said, there I go again.
Yep.
And it's really, really easy for that part of our brain that sees judgment to go, I'm losing it again, and to try to find something negative, so. That's another thing that we're going to discuss today is just that the brain has this negativity bias. It wants to focus on the negative way more than the positive. I'm sure every golfer can understand that, right? Where you had all these great shots, but there you are focused on the one shot that went horrible or the one hole. And it's so easy to just completely ignore everything that went well. That is your brain's negativity bias at work. And as we discussed in previous episodes, our brain is in charge, or that part of our nervous system and that part of our brain is in charge of safety. It does not care about happiness. It does not care about happiness. So as we said, as the brain evolved and it got to where we are today, it paid off to be negative, right? As we discussed and used the analogy of
playing it safe.
Yeah, playing it, going into a man going into a cave for a first time, not knowing, I need to, if there's going to be a threat, there's going to be an animal lifting a rock, there might be a spider, there might be a snake, being weary and having that negative brain kept us safe for so long. And today it's still there, right? It's there to protect us. It's there in case we, like I said, in case we need to go into fight or flight, in case we need adrenaline, in case we need that cortisol to get us going and moving, right? So it's very easy, as you said, I find myself going down this negative thoughts and I it doesn't serve my happiness. It doesn't serve my well-being. This is my brain interpreting a threat, regardless of what it is. It doesn't understand the difference between life threats and just,
the breathing is short and shallow.
Day-to-day stress. Yeah. And then, of course, your nervous system goes on and it triggers the breath, and there it goes. Or vice versa. The breath goes first, and then it triggers that domino effect. And your who, right? The who is so deeply tied to your why, right? And that's where the spirituality in golf comes from, right? We're tapping into this who, but why? Why are we doing that? What is this driving force that tells us you do not deserve to stay in that stress, and you deserve to pick a better thought or a better path that is not so stressful for you? And in the case, like you said, we can find ourselves stressed out with day-to-day situations. And like I said earlier, the brain generates a lot of generic things, right? That are not exclusive to one person. All of our brains are doing this, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like all of our cars have check engine lights, right? This is just like all of our computers generate pop-ups. There's nothing special about it. Everybody's is doing that. And it's the same thing here. What is this driving force that's looking at that and saying, hey, can I go down a different path? Do I need to go down that stressful path? And as you said, you catch these moments. What is that thing that's saying, don't go down that one? You know where that road goes. Let's calm down. Let's breathe. And let's see the bigger picture. And going back to those generic thoughts, what I was going to say was that a lot of our brains will produce this, I have to, I have to, I have to. And what I mean by that is, I have to do this with the baby. I have to do this tomorrow for work. I have to, I have to, I have to, I have. Everyone's brain generates this, I have to, I have to, I have to. And when we kind of look at the generic language that our brain generates, that everybody's brain generates, we start to see this, I have to, I have to, I have to. And it's always with future stuff, this idea that you have to.
Right.
And that's where we create this pivot and we go, do I have to or do I get to? So in the case, let's say with baby, I'm going to have to change baby later. I'm going to have to wake up later with baby. Then you zoom out, tap into your who. And that's where I say that the who has to be profound, or it can be profound. And if it can, then let's do it. Now we're zooming out. And in my case, I would zoom out and I would see, here's my life, as we discussed when I said, this is how I design my who in previous episodes. I think it was in episode 2. I'm going to zoom out. I see my life. And you might see, as you zoom out, the truth that is, here's my beautiful baby. She's only going to be this age one time.
It's the youngest she'll ever be right now.
The youngest this is the oldest she's ever been, the youngest she'll ever be, just like me, right? Everybody living in the moment can say, this is the youngest I've ever been. This is the oldest I'll ever be. So you see that. Suddenly the I have to becomes, I get to take care of my baby later. I get to wake up with her later. I understand my true who, my true grateful self sees that it's not always going to be this way. It's not always going to be this way, and I should be grateful for it. And our negative brain is in the way, creating this noise saying, I have to do this, and I'm going to wake up, and it's going to be stressful, and I'm going to be tired, blah, 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 blah. But then your who comes in and intervenes and says, hey, look at it through these lenses. You're looking at it through that, and there's truth through the lens of anxiety. Is there truth through it? And that's the thing about anxiety, and that's the thing about these past. And sometimes there may be truth to it, but is that the lens that I really need to be looking at it through? Can I reduce the stress by looking at it through a different lens? Can I go and see the big picture of my life and say, well, this is a fleeting moment. It's not always going to be this way. I get to wake up with her later. And all of a sudden through that lens, maybe it's still stressful. You're still going to go through it, but at least some of that mental stress or that mental turmoil that some of us go through isn't going to be there. So if I just reduce the stress from 100% down to 30, and sometimes it's hard to put a number on it, but we can feel it, then that's a big deal, and for golf to be able to do that for us, that's where we create that sort of connection today, right? Where golf is spiritual because it has the ability to completely change not just our games, but the way we perceive life, right? So going into, again, creating your who, I urge every golfer that identifies with this. And again, I can't state this enough. It's not going to be for everybody, right? Not everyone's going to be like, this is fantastic, But for the majority of golfers that feel they understand these parallels, they understand the value, or they felt this affinity for the game. Lori was just telling me today, and she's like, isn't it amazing? Like, you started rewriting your game and getting into all of this, and that's the only reason you bumped into Raul again. This amazing way that golf works, and it unites people, and it's already hard enough to make friends as an adult, and I'm sure you felt that.
So busy,
It's you don't just do the old school the way, hey man, you're gonna be home, okay, I'll be right there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just as an adult, you don't just do that. It felt so much easier. It's easier as a kid, and this all ties into it. And I urge people, if you're adopting this way of doing things and you're curious about loading the who and getting your meditation practice going and all the other advice that we've kind of put out so far, when it comes to loading your who, I've worked with students, and they're sometimes competitive players, and sometimes they're in high school, sometimes they're older. It's always super interesting to hear as we go through, hey, okay, now we're at the who, let's design your who. And then you get to ask your student, all right, what is the thing you're the most grateful for? And it's so cool to hear everyone's at a different stage in life, and sometimes you'll hear someone and they'll come up with something profound. And then other times I've had students where it's like, hey, what's something that you're incredibly grateful for and is something meaningful to you? My license, my wedges, you know what I mean? And sometimes, it's a place to start. That's why I say sometimes it means different things to everyone, and we're all at different jump off points.
Perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'll tell them, hey, if your wedges is what you're grateful for, then let's start there, baby. You know what I mean? We'll start there.
It's so funny. Before you taught me that, I was thinking about the other day, as I was getting stressed out about, like, I just fed her, the baby, I changed her diaper, she pooped on it, she pooped through it, so it's everywhere. And I'm just like pausing that moment and breathing. After I did all that and I'm ready for bed and I'm thinking back, like, man, if I didn't implement those, know how to do that, load the who kind of thing, how would I more stress have been? How more stressed would I've been if I didn't, and just like been more frustrated, like, And then now that compounds more. Next time I'm changing her, I'm more stressed out because I didn't relax, or maybe I couldn't sleep, after doing that because I'm so, high strung that I just did it like multiple, and I feel like I keep trying to, when I get a moment of like peace or like quietness, I try to like, all right, what just happened that I'm now implementing the who, where I'm feeling the grateful, but now like, is this a way that I can add it to my game? And I correct me if this is a way of doing it or a way of practice. The other day I was doing that happened, and I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, all right, could this be an equivalent to even through 17 holes and I double bogeyed, the last one, or like the one coming up, and that feeling of like letdown, stress of like, oh, now I got a birdie, I know it's two different things, but before I would have never have loaded the who. Right, I'm actually excited to implement the golf course because before that happens, I'm like, I don't know where my game's going to go. I got 3-4 holes to go. My record shot, I'm already 2 over. Let me just par out or whatever and shoot 2 over, and then do worse because I'm already future
thoughts.
But at the time, this is playing back games in my head. At the time, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know the breathing. I didn't know loading the who. So like, I can see now previous rounds where I'm like spiraling down, and I'm like, God, if I can go back and plug in, load the who at that moment, how would my round been?
Yeah.
That's where I'm excited now moving forward. And I'm sure people are watching or listening, and they're like, man, I can think of rounds that it was one thing or one hole or one somebody said or whatever. Or if I can load the who at that moment, would have changed my round.
Yeah.
My
absolutely.
tournament.
Absolutely, dude.
That's where I'm excited.
And I love that you can go back. Like I said, if I'm going to go back in time and spend time in the past, the only reason I'm going to do that is I'm going to pull something out of that to serve me here. Because typically time spent in the past, as we said, that's more linked to depression, or it can be, not always, but typically, right? Depression, past thoughts. And if we're going to go spend time in the past, like you said just now, it's not to go back there and kick myself. It's not to go back and feel badly about myself, because the brain wants to do that. Why? Negativity's juicy, right? Loves negativity, loves to be offended, loves to go down that path, because it's just to our brain safety, man. It's always worked to be negative. So let's be negative. So if we're going to go to the past, it's to draw something that's going to help us now, to take those lessons. Like, whoa, I see that fork in the road now. Like, I see myself going down that spiral. I see where I didn't have the awareness, or I didn't have this new program in there kind of catching these things for me. And I see now how I'm going to go left instead of right this time.
Right. And it's funny. The reason why I say that is because I tend to remember the best as far as like the golf round. I don't remember those eagles or like almost albatross kind of thing, which happened once. But like all those moments I don't remember, but the ones where like it pivoted my round.
Yeah.
Like the one I keep bringing my cousin where I was like 2 under through like 7 or 6 or 7. And I didn't know until he mentions it. Yeah. And then I top it. And then so like
the weird stuff happens.
But see, now like looking back, that was a road I already traveled through. But what if I had learned, or at least was working on the who, which I am now, and implemented at that moment? As soon as he said it, all right, no longer I'm going to play it safe. It's my like, love the who. This ball's going to go, right in the middle of the green. Let's hit it. How could I have finished 2 under? I don't know. And all that to say is I'm excited to keep practicing this with you, because when I sign up for the tournaments and we're going to, film it, I want that to be proof, like, look, there's a different change where people can see it and be like, oh, look, I can implement this kind of thing in my game.
Yeah.
When people can see that.
Yeah.
And maybe help where it's not everybody's the same, where Raul did it this way, give him this outcome, let me do the same. But in reality, it can be their own, like you said, their own whatever that is for them, but that gets them that result.
Yeah.
For the golf game, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. Makes 100, it makes total sense. And, it's, as we mentioned earlier, like, what is this, man? Like, once we install this awareness, that this is where, dare I say, going into that corny route or that corny area of like, oh, now we're dealing with spirituality. And this has nothing to do with, religious affiliation. I think, like I said, this is everything to do with everything that every single human has available to them. And there's this tendency, and I think, again, if you feel like there's a spiritual aspect to golf, then you're going to understand. And once again, this is not for everybody, but I generally feel that everyone can benefit, and a lot of folks are going to relate to what I'm just about to say, and that is, that when we have this realization that you are not your thoughts, not every single thought that your brain generates do you need to indulge. Not every single thought that enters your psyche do you need to say, that's for me. Here we are, right? Observing thought and going, I don't need to think that. I need to pivot my thinking from I have to I get to, as we mentioned earlier, right? Or is that what I really need to be? Is this
zoom out?
Yes. Is this really the truth, right? So obviously, we're not every single thought that pops into our brain. There's a lot of gobbledygook. There's a lot of noise that the brain generates, a lot of negativity that the brain generates. That's not exclusive to me. It's not exclusive to you. It's not exclusive to anybody. This is as generic, as I like to call it, this is as generic as a pop-up on your computer. And imagine thinking that you're every single pop-up that happens on your computer. You're not.
Yeah.
You have the ability to observe the pop-ups, cancel them, or go, hey, this is interesting. Maybe it's not. Right? So that means I am not every single thought that pops into my brain. I am that which can observe the thought and then decide which one is for me, and not just decide which one's for me, but create a new one.
When you say all that, it sounds very mature. Like, dude, I'm serious. You sound like you're already, because obviously you're doing it, right? You created it. But me looking in, I think of like, man, this guy is like mentally mature. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm there yet. Or if I'm nervous, can I get there?
You already are.
Right, but that's my point. My point is, why I was bringing up those stories is of me thinking I'm doing all that, is that part of getting to that point? Like, is practice? Am I doing it, or should I do something else?
And again, we can label it. And even that's got its limitations, right? Just semantics and just word meanings and just...
Well, the reason why I say is because the viewer or the listener might think like, well, he keeps saying the grateful self or, the who, but what is that to me? Like, I've never meditated. I've never done these things. Like, what does that mean? And how do we explain it? Or I guess maybe more so not a corny way, in the way like you said, but to where they understand like, oh, this is not corny or what I've seen on TV or seen people say. This is more so, more mature is why I say.
And again, these are just words, right? If I try to kind of sum it up in a quick, and paraphrase this as quickly as I possibly can, you basically just have a human that has understood that they're not every single thought, and they've realized, just like through exercise, that if they strengthen their focus through this practice, that they have a greater ability of going in there and noticing thoughts that aren't for them. And then they go in there and they pivot and they live a happier life because they don't go down the stressful path of all of those negative thoughts.
You just explained it in like 30 seconds.
Which are just autopilot thoughts, So it's this, what is, like we keep going back, this is the who, what is that thing that's saying, we don't need to go that? What is that thing that's saying you could go down that path, but you deserve better? That's, like I say, dare I say, a version of a loving entity that's within you that's saying you deserve better, coming from within you. And that's where I say, to me, and again, nobody has to agree with me because I understand we're dancing in a funny place. To me, that's the spirit.
Yeah.
That's the spirit that's going in there to say we deserve better. And that's what the who is all about.
That when you say that, first thing I think of is when I've started implementing now, ever since you told me, was now when I feel my grateful self, what is that?
What is that?
Before, when I do the breathing or whatever, I'll just like, all right, or even not do it, I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
But now I try to make it back where I have a second of peace, or quote unquote, like a few seconds or maybe like 30 seconds to just relax and think, all right, what am I grateful here? I have a house, amazing wife, beautiful baby. Like I start thinking all these things, and we're not too dead too much. Like, you know, all these positive things.
Sure.
Kind of like, all right, gets my like, all right, I don't feel too stressed anymore.
Yeah.
You know? And then boom, take on the day. I've done that a few times recently. And I never thought about it correlating with what you're saying, the who. I just thought of it like, because you say like the grateful self, but I don't know what that meant.
Yeah.
Right?
You've tapped into, every person has tapped into it at some point in time. There isn't one person that hasn't.
But now you're giving it a name.
Now we're just adding a human name to it.
I never knew that. Yeah.
It's hiding.
So that's what that is.
It's hiding there in plain sight, right? Until we discover it, you know. And like I said, these names are just human stuff, right? It's just, right now I'm making noise with my mouth, and that's just the noise that I can make to call it that. It's going to mean something different to us all. There's going to be some things that are pretty much down the middle for us all, but you know, everyone's going to have their own version of what they feel is in line with their true self. And I think that, again, if maybe it's far-fetched and maybe it's a little bit on the dreamy side, but that if we can all continue to tap into our who, which I feel is probably the greatest part of every single one of us, right? That we're going to live in a happier place, man. You know, we're all going to be more pleasant to be around. I'm sure every single one of us, you know, we go into the past, we go back to something that we regret or something that we did or someone that we hurt. And it can be very easy to beat ourselves up over that, you know. And at that point in time, these things that we did, you know, I go onto YouTube and you see road rage, and you see people losing it. And at some point, you're going to have people that are like, no, I don't regret that. And then you're going to have a vast majority like, oh man, I wish I hadn't have done that. You know, I wish I hadn't have done this. I wish I hadn't hurt this person.
It's always after the fact. Though.
Yeah.
Everything's calmed at that point.
What if we were trained a little bit better, right, through these practices to catch these things and not go down that route? You know, I can think of a situation where I ended up in this situation where a driver on the road thought I had done something that I didn't. I won't get quite into it because we just don't need to. And he's essentially at my window, beating on my window, thinking what he thought he saw. And I know what he thought he saw. He's wrong. And he's at my window, beating on my window, and my old self would have just totally engaged this. You know what I mean? Oh, let's get into it. You know, you can ask Lori, oh man. And in that moment, believe it or not, bro, I had already started, you know, training. It sounds so funny, but it's true. I had already started training my mental game and rewriting my mental game and practicing my who. And as he's walking to my car, you know, coming all tough, and this guy has no reason to believe he's tough, but there he is at my window. And you can ask Lori, I told myself, I tapped into that who, and I go, just keep looking forward. This isn't as big a deal as the negative side of me, the primal side that wants to engage this, the one that's going, how dare this guy be beating at my window? No, don't be a, you know what, you know, get out there and get in his face. You know what I mean? Like, show him you're not all the different generic,
stereotypical, bro.
The different generic things that are going off of and there's something in me, the who, cancel. You know, just like, oh, you know what I mean? And I'm telling Lori, like, I just need to keep looking forward. I just need to keep looking. Don't look at him. Don't look at him. And eventually, 10 seconds later, he goes, gets in his car and he leaves. And Lori's like, I'm so proud of you.
That's tough, dude.
And I'm driving away still like
mad
at myself, hearing those voices. Like, I can't believe you
Yep.
didn't do anything.
Yep.
I can't believe you just let. And again, bro, the brain is obsessed with negativity. It's obsessed, as I mentioned earlier, with being offended. Could I have easily been in my right to go out there and set this straight? Oh, 100%. But I don't know where it's going to go, man.
What if he has a gun or something?
What if he has a knife, and I don't have time to sit here and explain to someone who's just
already seeing red.
Yes.
Whatever you tell him, he's not listening.
This is what really happened. I know what you think you saw, but this is what really happened. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, he drives off, I drive off, and we're fine.
Yeah. That's what I mean by mature. Yeah. That's what I mean by mature. Like, dude, I swear, dude, I would not have done that.
Was it hard, bro? It was so hard. That was tough.
Yeah.
But I felt like I walked away and I passed the test. You're going to have people, oh, dude, you're crazy. I would have, but that was the path that I chose to go down that day. And to this day, I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
Some people might disagree.
But see, looking back right now, I would have been like, man, I so would have done this. I would have done that. I would have got, but now, like, after you said it, I'm like, man, you probably did the best thing for you and Lori's situation.
For her too.
Because what if because she's there with you.
Yeah. Because I also understand, man, especially today, there isn't a single tough guy that's bulletproof. You know what I mean? So you just never know who you're getting involved with. But in that moment, the who saved me from a situation. And it'd go on to do it in many different situations, minor offenses, minor this, communications with, your day-to-day work and stuff like that. Or you, instead of sending something passive aggressive, you're just like, hey man, this is important. It's just amazing.
Traffic is a big one because we're always here.
Because the ego goes berserk in traffic, man. There is this phenomenon that happens on the road, right? Yeah. We all kind of like the keyboard warriors, right? We all become car warriors behind our steering wheels, and things that people would never do face to face. Now in a car, it's different, So that's another great place where it constantly pops up, and like I said, man, what is this, man? What is this thing that's going in there to override our nature to react? And this thing tells us to respond. And there's a big difference between reactions and responses. Like I said, whenever you hear me say autopilot stuff, that's just autopilot stuff. I'm referring to the random brain noise, the generic things that our brain does and says. And, this information is taken in from external sources, right? People outside of us or situations outside of us. And then our brain perceives it and it first feels an emotion, right? So it comes in, it fires off an emotion, and then the emotion creates language. And those are the voices that we hear, right? So it kind of goes in that order, right? That stimuli comes in, the brain interprets it, it fires off a feeling, that feeling fires off language, right? And then we hear it. That's why sometimes the language is so generic. Like I was telling you, sometimes these things are incredibly impersonal, where the true individuality sits in our ability to tap into our spiritual selves and go, hey, let me look at this through another lens. Because like I said, we can look at it through that lens, through the autopilot stuff. And there may be truth, right? That guy had no business out there. That's true. Yeah, man. If he eats one and he gets KO'd, he had it coming. Are there truth to some of these?
Flight on the highway.
There's truth. And it's easy because sometimes all of those negative voices, there may be some truth. But just because there's truth to it doesn't mean there isn't a better route, right? So gradually, every golfer, if we can sort of work on our mental game, work on our mental health, and go down this path, right? We're increasing our focus, right off the bat helps us. Right off the bat helps us, right? Extra focus helps us not lose ourselves as much to the future and to the past. So being able to be present more automatically helps us, right? And then we adopt loading the who and using this out on the course and using the most and making the most out of these 4 or 5 hours, making the most out of our range sessions. And now we're gradually, increasing this focus and this mind power. Like I said, this is certainly the workout for the mind, right? If we want to stay sharp, you're reading, meditation, loading the who, your range set, all these things are exercise for the brain. As we call meditation, we like to call it, like we said before, the weightlifting of the mind, right?
But now putting those words to it. When before I didn't know what I was doing. I thought just like, this is whatever.
We've all stumbled upon it, right? The reason, like we've said before, the reason we love golf so much is because it is, right, a big 4 or 5 hour meditation, right? Now, the ability to be able to focus can be wide and it can be narrow, right? We can go out there and we're singularly focused on golf, but that's more of a general, right? Like the reason we like it, as I said, we go out there, the world falls away, the bills fall away, this and that. Now, can we go out to play golf and still miss the point and lose our shit? 100%. You know, this is kind of like, I think of a flashlight, right? It can go wide beam, but yet it's focused on a certain amount. Then you can get very specific. That's what we're doing with golf. Everyone is already that wide band flashlight. There's a general focus, but it can get even tighter. And that's what we're doing through these practices, right? But like I said, we all enjoy being singular minded. We don't like having extra tabs open. We might think that it works for us, but it doesn't. But that's why golfers enjoy golf so much. It's, yes, of course, the dopamine of hitting good shots, right? You hit it, the moment it goes through, it resonates through. It's a whole body experience, right, that generates that dopamine. But at the same time, there is another aspect, right? We're outside. Humans love being outside. They love the outside nature aspect of golf. And again, the world falls away. It's just golf, you know. So when I tell folks, like, could it be when we're losing our minds out there, it has nothing to do with golf? Could it be something, a stressor outside of golf, and now it's coming out over here?
That's a good one.
And we've often said, golf will hold a mirror to you, man. If you're losing your stuff out here, it's not about the top shot. It's not about the slice. There's something else that's maybe bubbled to the surface that we stuff right back down. And golf is holding a mirror to you. You know, it's going to tell you there's something there that maybe we're not talking about. And all these practices are a great first step to kind of
notice
those things, man.
And understand it, that you're noticing it. And then to like, there's now a exercise to bring you back.
Correct.
Because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Now it's just, okay, just understanding what that is. It's a rep. I'm bringing myself back.
Yeah. And again, golf is a game of life, man. There's so many different parallels. If you look at the game of golf, the ball represents you. The ball represents you. And what we know is that the way our brains work is that the brain gets very attached to anything that we identify with me and mine. My car, my shoes, my house, my this, my that. It becomes a part of you. Your belief systems, my this, my that, and you will defend them like it's you. And if somebody questions or says, you're blah, 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 it feels like an offense.
You get defensive.
You get and you will defend it, man. You will defend it, right? Your beliefs, regardless of
naturally,
because they are a part of you, to your mind. So that ball, my ball, that's a part of you now. And it represents us in life, making moves, right? We set ourselves up on that first tee, like the way you set yourself up in life.
Wow.
And you make moves, you stand back, you plan, and you want to make big moves, right? Every hole could represent a whole lifetime as you make your way to the end. And every round could also represent an entire lifetime. You know, that's the one I kind of tend to feel, right? That represents
the up and downs of a round.
Yes, the up and downs of a round, right? You make, let's say it's life, right? Or business or whatever. You stand here, you look out at the field. What do I want to do? You design. What's my next move?
That's one of the things I like about golf. It's so hard, but also like it's a single player game. It's you. You know, can you beat the course?
Yeah, and everyone's making their moves, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's in a different place. Everyone's at a different skill set, right? Over here, you can literally use the elements to see the way it works in the golf course, right? You got your fire energy over here on the tee box, right? Big shots, power.
Yeah.
And then over by the green, you got your water energy, soft, feel, flow, you know, the big movements.
The Bruce Lee, what is it?
Be like water.
Be like water.
Now those big movements don't count anymore, right? Now it's about the finesse. Now it's about thinking. Now it's about touch. Now it's about fine motor, not about this gross motor, big movements, right? And it's essentially like in life, golf is just about the bravery to keep going, to keep going, keep going. And like I said, even down to the funniness, like if that's the ball, right? Like you're making your way through a hole. You're making your way through life, and the hole represents life. And then it ends up in the ground the way we are at the end of our lives. The ball goes in the hole, it goes into the ground just like we are.
Yeah.
And then we come out and we do it again.
Yeah.
And we do it again.
Yeah.
And we do it again. And we do it again. And the way we go out there and plan our life and plan our round, these things have parallels, man. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, regardless of where you go, let's say it's in business, like, oh, I planned for this move, like it's golf. I planned it to go this way. It didn't,
dude.
You know?
You know what? Not to cut you off or anything, but like, it's so funny you're saying that now. I'm kind of paralleling this a lot to YouTube. YouTube is such a grind. It's such a like, it could be a tunnel of just, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and since been doing that for so long, it as you slowly grow and then you make one video and it blows up, you know, and it's kind of like, oh, this is it. But yet it comes back like that. And you're like,
you had a good shot.
You had a good shot. Exactly what I was thinking. And I was like, oh, what did I do to make this video pop or do well that I can repeat again?
Yeah.
I just keep thinking that same thing.
And that's what golf asks us to do, right?
Yeah.
You can get stuck doing the same BS that don't work.
Yeah.
And
having the mindset.
Yes. And then you can change the way you think about the way you're approaching this, approaching your business, approaching your game, approaching life, approaching relationships, and go, this isn't working. I need help. I need someone else to help me.
But recognizing that
is everything.
So hard.
Again, why I go back to the foundation is strengthen your focus and awareness, because without that, without increasing your noticing, these things are going to be useless. And as we mentioned in previous pods, this is why information doesn't equal behavior change. It has to be practiced. We all need coaches. We all need support. We all need to do things in a way that's put together in a program, rather than just doing them sporadically with no order. There's ways of doing things on the course and in life that require, that benefit from support. We all need support in life. The way we do things, we need programming. We need it to be done in a certain
structure.
Order. And then we all thrive in accountability, right? So golf is teaching us that you can sit there and you can get really far doing it by yourself. But eventually, like the humans that we are, we all benefit from community. We all benefit from somebody else's help, somebody else's point of view. That's why there's this misconception that the best players in the world are this and that don't need coaches, or that their coaches have to be better than them.
That's what I thought.
Tiger's coaches couldn't beat
That's what
him.
I thought for a long time.
There's so many UFC fighters, man. They've got striking coaches, but jiu-jitsu coaches, wrestling coaches, so on and so forth. And a lot of these guys wouldn't be able to beat their pupil. You get destroyed by them. But yet, you know, there's this idea that, that our coaches, they have to be. No, not necessarily. And again, I in case you're wondering, I'm not a pro golfer, but my training comes from my extensive background in pediatric therapy and human behavior, and essentially being able to modify human behavior and understanding how behavior has changed. And from that background, being able to take concepts and actually apply them to where they actually begin to work for you, right? So,
and you see that in us,
a huge benefit. Yeah, you know, so you have, like I've mentioned before, you've got a lot of coaches that have the knowledge and they can pass the knowledge over to you, but it's completely useless if we don't know how to apply it and how to hold our clients and our students, you know, accountable to actually make these things happen.
I've seen the opposite too, where they're good players, but they can't explain very well.
You ever had a math teacher that was great at math but couldn't teach you math? Same
thing.
Concept,
And
man.
baseball, same thing. It's
the application. Yeah, you've got the knowledge, but it doesn't mean you're going to be able to apply it. If you haven't heard previous episodes, the analogy that we used was that generally everybody knows eat, if you get exercise, eat well, sleep. Everyone generally, maybe not the deep specifics, but they generally know what they need to do in order to take care of themselves. Doesn't mean that you're going to do it, right? It's just, I know that if I go onto YouTube and I create videos and I 100% know that if I post, something's going to happen, or if it doesn't mean we're going to do it, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with the mental game here. I can talk to you about these things. I can give you all the information, but it doesn't mean that you're going to apply it. So, probably a good time to plug. If you need lessons, you want to work with us, you can work with us from all over the world. We'll work with you via Zoom. We got a phenomenal evaluation intake that we have for all of our players, and we'll support you and we'll put you through the programming and get these things off of the
ground.
How do
they reach out?
You'll reach out to the link below that's listed here so that you can book your lesson. And if you're in the Austin or San Antonio area, or if maybe you're coming to the Austin area, we can book a visit with you. And if not, then a lot of our sessions, we never touch a golf ball. As a matter of fact, a lot of our lessons.
Is so crazy.
We never touch a golf ball. We're going to chat just like this. All the upgrades, like I said, it's like upgrading a phone. You got bugs, you got fixes this, fixes that.
Which, if you're listening to that and thinking that's weird, it's probably you need that because you've never done it.
Yeah, it's only weird. And again, and I hear you mention it often, like, oh, but it's so hard. It's so hard. It's just because, we're unpracticed. Mm-hmm. We're unpracticed. But again, I can tell you, you need the tripod, man. You need the tripod. You need support. You need programming. You need accountability. It doesn't mean that you're going to seek those things. But if you're sick and tired of, being on that wheel and going, I get started and then it stops. I get started and then I stop. Well, it's because your brain is rejecting it, right? We need it. It's too much too quickly. And we need to, throw in a little bit of accountability so that these things cement and stick.
Yeah, when I was doing the debt-free stuff for a while, which I love, by the way, which helped our finances out, people would ask, like, oh, why are you doing that program and this and that? And I'd ask them, I'd ask them, like, well, how are you doing? Like, how is it working for you so far?
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe there's something here that I don't know yet, It's always like, think about it, Like, if you've been playing golf competitively, like me trying to do, or so other people just naturally, and you want to get better at the mental game, ask yourself, like, how has it been so far?
Yeah.
Then,
how's it going for you?
Yeah. How's it going for you? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I've heard that one before, like, oh, I'm a swing guy. I just focus on, that's totally fine, man.
How's it working for you?
You should. How's that working for you? Yeah. And I think a lot of players, professional, all sorts of players can end up in plateaus. Mm-hmm. And this is where I go work on the mental game. Like, what do you have to lose, right? Give it a shot. As I've mentioned before, I'm never going to tell you, oh man, believe me, that I'm going to say, try it for yourself and experience
these videos.
If it doesn't work for you, which I wholeheartedly believe it's going to work for, the only reason it's not going to work for you is that if you just don't put in the time. Mm-hmm. This is one of those things, like, you lift weights, you eat right, you get your protein intake, you sleep, you do what you need to do. It's not if.
It's when.
It's when.
Yep, 100%.
It's when, man.
100%.
It's going to help you. It's going to help people in different ways. Mm-hmm. Some of them are going to be general and some of them are going to be specific, right? But it's going to help you. And again, man, going back to the overall theme is that this is a game of life. And if it can help us in any sort of way, and if there's any sort of curiosity, go for it. And if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, this is just a bunch of hokey bullshit, man, dude, I agree with you. You know what I mean? Semantically, it sounds like, oh my gosh, this freaking spiritual blah, blah, blah.
What is your current program and how is that working for you so far?
But how is it working for you? Are you stuck in a plateau? Exactly. Have you not crossed over to the next level? Give it a shot, man. Like I said, there are going to be a lot of brains that are going to listen to this, and because it's new and the brain is weary of new,
red flags.
It's not going to. This is why I hear 99% of golfers saying, the game is so mental. The game is so mental. This is such a mental. And I'll even see people, it's more mental than it is physical. And I agree with those people. It is. But why have you never worked on your mental game? Because it's new.
And I think if it's
Because it's new.
a lot of players like myself that always thought it was something else.
Something else.
In reality, finding out that it's just these things you can incorporate yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, why not try it?
Yeah. And I think that there is a tremendous benefit from more human beings not looking through the eyes of their defensiveness, not looking through the eyes of anxiety, not looking through the eyes of, dare I say, fear, right? And stepping into their who and looking through that. We're going to generate happier golfers, healthier golfers in mind, body, and because we're talking about it today, mind, body, and spirit, man. Because
your spouse will thank you.
Yeah, your spouse will thank you. Everyone's going to thank you. The person driving next to you is going to be thankful.
That dude that knocked on your window.
Yeah, man. You know, we could have gone a very different route that day. We could have gone a very different route that day. But at the end of the day, this is a beautiful game, and we've all decided to play it. We were all called to it. And maybe perhaps you're listening to this, or you've tuned into this episode on YouTube, or you're listening to it in your car, wherever you might. And we found each other, man. To me, that's a freaking miracle. And I don't see and believe in coincidences. I generally believe wholeheartedly that we're all tied to this game. We all love this game. It's freaking beautiful. I've seen new golfers, countless new golfers get involved in this game, and you just immediately get sucked into this game. You know, I remember being 9 years old and just having this, like, I just had to, man, had to. Like, it was almost like it hurts not to. You know, I just had to pick up this club. I just had to hit this ball. There was something about going to the range that first time. One of the first times I went to this range, I'm originally from far Texas, and right on 495 doesn't even exist anymore, man. There's just apartments there, whatever. But there was this freaking awesome range there, $375 a bucket. I just loved going there with my dad, night range, and just hearing the bing, bong, you know, seeing shots disappear into the night. I remember one of the first times seeing a riser, and I was just, wow, this is amazing. Just this calling, man, that we all feel. We all say, golf, golf, golf. I just love this sport. You know, we're at work and we're dreaming about it, and you see someone practicing their swing while they're gassing up. It's just this game. Right there. Yeah, you know, not to say that every sport is absolutely beautiful, because I truly believe that every single sport also shares these things. This is something that can be applied to baseball. It can be applied to MMA. It can be applied to basketball. You name it. All of these concepts can be applied to every single sport. That's where it starts to feel like these are general things that are going to work for competitive minds. This is generally going to work for every sport. This is going to work in life. It really is something that can just be installed in many different places. I did have someone say, you know, I've got a son that fell into a slump in baseball. Can't hit the ball. And I can't. I'm absolutely certain, especially since I was a ball player, you know, you can definitely be in a state of fight or flight, and you're not in the zone. You're not there. You're fearful. You're going up to the plate, and that reaction time is different. You know, can it serve you in some of these games where I need adrenaline? I need more football. Sure, 100%. Yeah. But in games where we need to be clear-headed and think straight and do these things, especially like in MMA, right? If I just have an adrenaline dump, my cardio is going to go.
Be worn out.
Yeah, you know, so you have fighters that go out and they're experiencing this tremendous anxiety before they go out to the ring, right? They're up backstage just losing it, throwing up. There are physical reactions that are happening due to the anxiety. And some of them that by then they've been doing it for so long, it's normal to them, you know. But can all of these things help prior to kind of like, hey, I need to stay clear-minded? Yes. It just depends, right? Some people are going to want to, some people are not. It may serve them. It just depends on all of our individual needs, you know. But it's just incredible, right? That at least in our sport, in the game of golf, as we mentioned, this is a tremendous opportunity that we have, because we have the ability to have so many lapses, so many reps, right? Like in order to create these habits, what we're doing in our brains is we're creating neural highways, right? And we need those highways to be strong, like a path in a meadow. We have to create that path. If I walk through a meadow once, I'm not going to create a path.
Yeah.
Golf has taught us that, right? You're going to pick up the swing. You're going to do it lots and lots of times. And that's what golf allows us to do with loading the who and really build this into a habit quickly, which takes me to, as what I was going to mention earlier, the swing. to all the swing guys, I see a lot of people, a lot of golfers, very, very focused on their swings. And I go, you have such a beautiful swing. Yes, there's going to be adjustments that we're going to need to make, right? The analogy that I'll use is a souped up car, right? You've got this beautiful car, you've got this beautiful swing, and you've got the suspension, you've got the built motor, you got the turbo, you've tuned your ECU, your engine is tuned beautifully, you've ported, you've done this, you've got the intake, you got everything you need, but the driver don't believe in themselves.
It ain't going anywhere.
It ain't going anywhere. Man.
Yeah.
Like at some point, the mental game has to come in, and there's got to be this sort of, hey man, let that swing go. Now go trust it. We can look at it and critique it and do this. And yes, while there's truth to that, and we're working on swing and making adjustments, and I 1000% work with a swing coach. You need that in your life, 100%. But then on the mental side, how are we ever going to see that swing's potential if I don't ever trust this swing and go, okay, I've got my modified car. I'm going to trust it. Let's go rag on it, man. Let's go see what this thing can do and let it go. Trust it fully. I don't have the best swing in the world. Most of my career, through the decades as I've played golf, 3 decades now, I overextend and I do all sorts of things. But I can at least, as I'm working on those things, take what I've got and believe in it wholeheartedly. Believe that I can hit this fade. Believe that I can, and really go out there and trust it. Start to trust it. And again, that's going to be something different to us all. But what good does it do, right? If we work so hard on the swing and so hard on the game, and there's never anybody there to just fully trust it, So whether you're after playing better golf or you're interested in, hey man, I do suffer from anxiety and depression, and I think this is going to help me and get my mind straight and start, again, as we said earlier, stop seeing I have to do this, I have to on Monday go. I get to. Start seeing through the lens of I get to. And suddenly it's different because it doesn't feel like something that's being forced on you, but it's something that, oh yeah, I chose this, and that lens is very different, man.
Yeah. But that by doing those reps at home also helps in the course.
Yes. And I think that's, again, I cannot overemphasize how amazing that is, bro, that it's going to spill into your life. And as you said, I wasn't surprised. A few weeks, a month, 2 into your work in doing this. And then you come over, we chat on the phone and, hey man, it worked here. Hey man, it happened here. Hey man. And I said,
it's so crazy.
I remember telling you, bro, it's only a matter of time before it spills into your life. And the first time that your who from the course spills into life, you're like, oh, wow, there it is.
There.
And you
naturally.
Yeah, naturally.
No more of like,
So I imagine I can probably safely guarantee, like, go hit a bucket. Load the who for every single one, as we discussed and taught you how to do. And if you've got questions, let me know.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, go back and listen.
Go back to the episode, yes.
The previous episodes.
And go do it for the first time.
Or you're out there, put this in your ears.
Yeah, go do it for the first time. Maybe you're doing it right now. And I'm like, shit, I'm in the range right now.
Yeah, he's just talking to me.
He's talking to me.
How does he know?
Yes, I am talking to you. So you're there for the first time. And again, your who should be profound because it gets to be. It should be profound. You can be grateful if you're, a high school golfer. I just got my license. I'm grateful for my license. That's great. In time, I want you as life does what life does to us, and I think maybe perhaps, our golfers in our 20s, 30s, 40s, and so on will feel this. Not that you don't have the ability in your teens. You do. There's a lot of mature teens out there. I've worked with some golfers that just blow my mind with how mature they are for their age. So if you understand these concepts, again, I want you in your who to see your whole life, zoom out, see the truth. And this is probably the deepest part of the whole podcast. we're not going to be here forever. And sometimes I sit with that and it hurts and I get anxious and I see those thoughts and where they're going, and it's a truth. We're all going to die one day, man. We're not going to be here forever. And I go there, I make peace with it, and then I come back. And like I told you earlier, if I'm going to go to the past, I'm going to draw something from it. I'm going to bring something back with me that's going to serve me. And if I'm going to go into my mortality and I'm going to see that truth, my loved ones, my friends, this will all come to an end one day. If I'm going to go there to that place that I think as all of us as humans can hurt, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to come back and it's going to make me more grateful. Because I see that truth, man. My friends, my loved ones, the people that I hold dear to me, man. Like, and I subscribe to the idea that death is easy, life is hard.
I've heard that.
But not for the people that are here, which is why I say life is hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we lose people around us. It's devastating. Do I really have time to be losing my shit over stuff that don't matter?
Yes.
That's where my personal who comes from. And that's why I say it's on the spiritual level. There is something else, observing thought and observing the noise that the brain does. Again, that's generic, like pop-ups. But then there's something that's something else. That sounds funny. There's something else, man. This is not a part of the human self. I truly believe, like a lot of people do, that we're a spiritual entity having a human experience, not a human having a spiritual experience, right? There's a spirit, there's a beautiful light in every single one of us. That light is your who. That light is your spirit. That light needs to make more decisions. That light needs to be out representing us more often. That light doesn't need to be suppressed. That light needs to be out and about. That's what's going to make this place better to live in. That's what's going to allow me to listen to somebody who might be different than me so that I can come and listen to you and not have my defenses up and have the brain noise get in the way and not have me hear you, but to actually be there to listen to you. I won't get into it too much, but there's a lot of division right now. And the one thing that I see, regardless of where you sit, is that there doesn't seem to be enough listening. We're all coming to enforce or prove our points. And one of the things that this allows us to do is, as we said earlier, it allows us to create a shift in perception, look at it through a different lens. And I feel that if we did that more often, we'd see each other and go, oh, I see what you're talking about, man. I see what you're talking about. Because sometimes we don't come to talk. My mind's made up. This isn't a debate. This isn't a conversation. I'm here to argue my point, and you're going to argue yours, and we're going to get nowhere. But if we can unite as human beings and see ourselves on that spiritual level and unite over freaking golf, man, the one place that we can decide, yes, I agree with you. Golf is freaking beautiful. Okay, then we can unite over that. We can start there. Then we can practice this. And suddenly, I believe decisions will be different. Conversations will be actual conversations. That's all I'll say about that. But when I see my whole life in my who, every single time I step behind the ball and I see that totality, I see that big picture, it serves me because every single time I do, I remember I have no time to waste. I don't have time to sit here and be pissed.
Be negative.
I don't have time to sit here and be negative. I don't have time to sit here and have my wife watch me lose my shit, which she's watched many times. Embarrassing.
Shout out to Lori. Shout out to Lori.
Shout out to Lori for, getting me through all of that. But I think we need to see that big picture more often because it's so easy to not want to. Bro, who wants to acknowledge their death more often? Who wants to see the end? We don't want to do that, man. We don't want to do that. We can all agree that life is precious and to do the most that we possibly can with it is incredibly important to all of us. I think that's a mission that we're all on, right? And my relationship with my close friends, my relationship with you, bro, I go back to that so often. And I was talking to Lori off of camera about that the other day when you left the other day. And I go, I'm so grateful for golf and I'm so grateful for my friend. And I see a light coming from my friend. And to the folks that don't know, I met Raul back in high school in the early 2000s.
03.
So we've got decades of
PSJA, bro.
PSJA, yeah.
Ooh.
And there isn't anything that I wouldn't do for my friend Raul. Raul has been here for me for such a long time. And he's been the biggest cheerleader. He's the type of person that he's going to support you. You don't expect anything back. He's doing it because he loves it. And I think that, that's what golf does, man. Golf does beautiful things to people. And then we can take it a step further. Let's do it, man. Let's do it. Let's support each other. Why not? Why not? What does it hurt?
The one you mentioned that I've heard before is that 400 trillion to 1 is the odds of having a life.
Yeah.
Some scientific thing. And I was thinking, wow.
Yeah.
Like we're here in this.
It's actually happening, man.
400 trillion. Like why would you want to be, depressed or feel like there's a way out?
Yeah.
And some people, I'm sure it's a whole different story.
Yeah. Because you can have that idea, right? That like, no, that mathematically, and to me, it goes either way. Oh, there's got to be life somewhere else, right? We can't be the only ones. But what if? What if we're that precious? What if we're that rare?
The odds of being alive, 400 trillion.
Yeah. What if the mathematical chances are so tiny that, here we are. Here we are. There's a lot.
This episode will go deep, man. We can go deep.
And we all have different ways of interpreting our lives. And, and of course, what happens to us after we leave this place. And I respect everybody's decision and everybody's belief. And I truly believe that there's parallels to us all. And, but while we are here, there's no time to waste. It's beautiful. It's precious, regardless of what you believe. Regardless of what you believe, it's precious. And there's no time to waste. There's no time to waste. And I think if we, certainly, if there's a test going on here and we're here to learn something, surely not missing the point of our time here has something to do with it. And seeing, again, the bigger picture.
That helps me get to my grateful self.
Yeah.
Just thinking like, man, this is a life that I'm building right now, but also the chances of me being here.
Yeah.
Like in kind of quick story, before I was born, I had a twin in my mom's womb, and the hearts were different, and apparently my heart like took over his or whatever. I'm like, what if it was the other way?
Wow.
That my twin was here and I wasn't.
Yeah.
That constantly hits me sometimes when I get to that.
I feel like I've done that one too. Wow. I had surgery at 2 weeks old, and I guess, was very, very sick when, I was born.
2 years old, dude.
2 years old and had this crazy surgery. I still got the scar. And I've thought about that too. Like, well, what if?
What if, yeah.
What if I didn't make it?
What if the doctor took the sneeze and cut the wrong thing or something,
Little baby suffered quite a bit. Apparently, I was, I had an issue with my stomach, and food wasn't making its way down there, and they're constantly just throwing it up, and parents freaking out and
overcoming those things now to the life that you can now as us adults. Kids, I can understand not thinking about it maybe, or because there's so much going on you're experiencing, but now like looking back, like, man, I'm here.
Yeah.
Like what impact can I make for myself, my family, and my friends?
Yeah.
And just that just energized, like I get goosebumps.
Yeah.
Like, oh, dude, I'm so pumped, dude.
And I understand that we're going into sensitive places. I understand that we're chatting about some sensitive stuff here, but I'd like us to stay focused on the place where we do unite, because even right now there can be brains going where there can be brains, focusing on the negative. And I want to redirect us back into the positive and the things that we can agree on. This sport can be spiritual. To me, it is spiritual. To other people, it may not be, and that's perfectly fine. But to the ones that do identify with this, and like I said, regardless of what you believe, this is, at the end of the day, going to help us. It's going to help you be a better person. It's going to help whatever your mission is while you're here on earth. I believe every single person has a mission while we're here, something that we need to get done. Even if it's just simply remembering who you are. To me, that's a massive, massive win, not just for the person, but for everyone around that person. It's going to make the world a much more pleasant place to live in.
It bleeds off.
Yeah, it's going to increase communication between us all. It's going to make for happier people. It's going to make for more receptive people. It's going to make for less defensive people. It's going to make just for a less stressed you and a happier you, a healthier you. Your heart's going to thank you.
Better golfer.
Your pressure's going to thank you. Your golf game's going to help you. The guy playing behind you is going to thank you. The guy playing in front of you is going to thank you. The guy in the other fairway is going to thank you. The lady on that side on that fairway is going to thank you.
If you're with.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone that, the cart girl, poor cart girls, that's a whole other story.
Oh, yeah.
But, it's just, it's going to benefit so many different things. And like I said, I know we went off of the deep end today, but if this resonated with you, and it resonated with you as a golfer, as a person, and maybe you're a new golfer, it doesn't matter. If it resonated with you, I'm glad. Again, the goal of all of this is just to help. We have this idea, right, in the medical world, do no harm. Do no harm. And I truly believe that you're going to adopt this, and it does no harm. It can only help, right? So if it's something that you resonate with, give it a shot. You need help, we're here for you. It's just, if there's a curiosity, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. What's it gonna hurt?
Yeah.
What's it gonna hurt? And if you're kind of on the fence about, I get it. You have every right to be like, oh, I don't know about this. Give it a shot.
If you want more information, book a call.
Book a call. Yeah. Let me know. And again, I with 1,000% certainty, this isn't going to be for everyone. But I will say, if you're one of the folks that's like, no, this isn't for me, and you've come this far on this episode, there's a reason why you're still
listening. I was about to say, if you're right now still listening and you think this is hoopla or whatever, put a comment down below.
And like I said, if I take off my lens and I look through your lens, I'm going to see that too. Yeah. I see that, the hokiness, meditation, blah, blah, blah. And the next thing you're going to want me to do is yoga. Yes, I am. We're going to get to that. But again, these are words that we put on this thing. And that's why I simplified it for you in another way. Like, all I'm asking you to do is up your brain power by working it out. That's all this is. It's just a different way of working out your focus, working out your brain, so that the true self can bubble to the surface more often. That's it. That's all we're doing. And like I said, I think, for the most part, regardless of what you believe, there's something within us. And if you don't believe there's anything else within you, okay, well then that's just the best version of yourself. Whatever you want. Don't call it the spirit. Don't call it any of those things. This is just the best version of you, because your body feels better. There, in the story.
This is your who?
That's all. That's it. So whatever it means to you, and I go back to that often, it's going to mean something different to us all. But the analogy that I like to make is that, the jiu-jitsu guy who's just like, again, this is my thing. Again, how we said it becomes my discipline, right? I'll use that analogy like, jiu-jitsu is the best sport. No, the jiu-jitsu, that's all you need. And you'll have some people that, no, boxing's the best. No, kickboxing. Right. You know what? Yeah. The wrestlers got it right. Well, that's the beauty of MMA. What if I use all of them? What if I adopt all of these styles and put them together? If it works, it works. Without ego, without saying, oh, this one's better, this one. They all do different things. They all serve different purposes. Or no, basketballs, no football, no soccer. No, it's called football. You know what I mean? So it's just, we can play that game, and there's truth to it, right? And there's beauty. If you're a soccer player, I'm not a soccer player, you're going to see beauty in that sport that I don't see. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. It doesn't mean you're wrong. You see it. You see it. It's true. It's beautiful. And I can acknowledge, I know for a fact, if I get into another sport, I'm going to find the beauty in it. It's beautiful. That's why we play them. They make us feel good about ourselves as human beings. And there's always lessons in
competition.
These parallels. And, every person in a sport can go, hey, well, soccer's a game of life and this is a game of life. And we're all going to see the beauty in our individual sports. And if we gravitate to one, that's the one that's for you. Doesn't mean one's better than the other. It just means this is the one that I identify with. This is the one that makes me feel good, so as we wrap up this episode, again, if there's something that resonated with you, if there's something that really stuck out to you,
subscribe.
Like I said, this is probably the one, and we needed to do it. We needed to do it because I can't talk about the who without going all the way with what it means to me. And maybe you're going to go even deeper than I did. Maybe
this is what they need to hear.
Maybe you went, oh, dude, Carlos, you think you're deep. You're surface.
Right.
What about this?
Right.
And I'm just ecstatic to hear it, So whatever's going to make us better, I want to know.
Put it in the comments.
Put it in the comments. Yeah. If this resonated.
Or DM him.
Or perhaps you've already gone through a few episodes and you're well on your way practicing and it's already presenting itself in your real life. Let me know.
Boom.
I'm ecstatic to hear. I hope it's helping.
I should tell you mine. Call you or text you, dude.
It's happening. It's happening again and again. Yeah. And it won't stop. But I'm incredibly grateful for you for tuning in. Once again, I'm Carlos Benavides from the Golf Psycho podcast with my buddy Raul. Raul Golf's buddy. Where do the folks find you?
Raul Golf's Instagram and YouTube. Check us out.
Fantastic.
Road to Scratch.
Yeah. Road to Scratch going on right now. We're going to be doing a lot of mental game work over on Raul's channel. Be sure to stay tuned for that. Incredibly grateful for you for tuning into this episode. Much love, my golfers. Peace.
Peace.